General adult tests, other blood tests. Blood may be tested for more than 100 different substances. Some tests are carried out only to diagnose specific health problems, while others, such as liver function tests, are widely used for both diagnosis and health checking. Automated blood testing. Most blood samples are analyzed automatically by a machine, which produces quick, accurate results. The results are then evaluated by a medical professional. Vitamins and minerals test. For calcium, abnormal levels may indicate a health problem such as parathyroid disease, kidney disease, a bone disorder, or certain cancers. Phosphate, another essential mineral. Abnormal phosphate levels may be due to various health problems, including kidney problems, parathyroid gland problems, excessive vitamin D, or cancer. Vitamin B12 and folic acid, low levels may indicate anemia, too little dietary intake of the substances, or autoimmune disease. Certain medications may also cause low levels. Vitamin D. Low levels may be due to various causes, including dietary deficiency, too little exposure to sunlight, impaired kidney function, or certain disorders that impair absorption in the intestine, such as celiac disease. Ferritin, a form of iron stored in the body. Low levels usually indicate anemia. High ferritin levels may indicate any of various underlying disorders, such as liver disease, diabetes, or some types of cancer. Obesity may also cause high ferritin levels. Blood clotting. Clotting factors, the protein essential for normal clotting. Abnormal levels of clotting factors may indicate a disorder, such as liver disease or a bleeding disorder. Clotting factor levels are also used to monitor treatment with some anticoagulant drugs. Infection and inflammation. The presence of specific antibodies indicates that you have or have had that infection. CRP, C-reactive protein, a substance produced in the liver in response to inflammation. High levels of CRP indicate the presence of inflammation somewhere in the body. However, this does not indicate what part of the body is inflamed. Thyroid function tests, levels of thyroid hormones, thyroid stimulating hormone, thyroxine, triiodothyronine. Abnormal thyroid hormone levels may indicate that your thyroid gland is overactive, hyperthyroidism, or underactive, hypothyroidism. Liver function tests. Levels of certain proteins and liver enzymes. Abnormal levels may indicate liver injury. Kidney function tests. Levels of urea, a waste product of protein metabolism, creatinine, a waste product formed in the muscles, and electrolytes. Levels of these substances indicate how well your kidneys are working. High levels of any of this may indicate kidney injury. Cancer tests. Prostate-specific antigen, or PSA, a protein associated with prostate problems. High levels of PSA may indicate a prostate problem, such as an enlarged or inflamed prostate or prostate cancer. However, PSA levels may be abnormal without there being an underlying pattern problem. CA125 protein. High CA125 levels may indicate various reproductive system problems in women, including ovarian cancer and ovarian cysts. However, high levels may also occur normally during menstruation, for example. BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes. The presence of certain versions of these genes is associated with an increased risk of breast and ovarian cancer. Thank you for your attention.
Let's now go to pathology. Let's discuss full empty conditions part 2. No pathogenic factor or normal upright Qi This is, of course, a rare state of perfect health. For no pathogenic factor deficient upright Qi, this is purely deficient condition, usually seen in chronic internal conditions. For example, a chronic spleen Qi deficiency developing gradually and slowly from irregular diet, a chronic kidney yang deficiency developing gradually and slowly from overwork. Although this may seem to be a very common situation, it is in fact not that common because in the majority of cases, there would be some kind of pathogenic factor in addition to or a result of the deficiency, examples, dampness deriving from spleen deficiency. No pathogenic factor deficient upright Qi, purely empty condition, mild symptoms, long protracted chronic disease developing gradually, can only be internal. Strong pathogenic factor or strong upright Qi, this is a classic purely full condition. The patient suffers from a pathogenic factor, which may be internal or external, acute or chronic, and his or her upright Qi is strong and fighting the pathogenic factor strongly. This is the situation that produces strong, intense clinical manifestations, especially in acute external conditions. For example, if a person with a strong upright Qi is invaded by a strong external wind, the strong upright Qi is invaded by a strong external wind, the clinical manifestations will be very intense and heightened, much as in a high fever, very pronounced body aches, etc. While it is easy to postulate or an exterior acute condition when both the pathogenic factor and the upright Qi are strong, this situation also occurs in chronic internal conditions. For example, a person may develop a strong Qi stagnation, a full condition from emotional problems, and his or her upright Qi is strong. This will induce a purely full condition that is internal and chronic. Indeed, such a situation is often seen in patients who, although encumbered by a strong pathogenic factor, have a good constitution that makes the upright Qi strong and who therefore often live to a ripe old age despite such strong pathogenic factors. The strong pathogenic factor, the strong upright Qi, there would be purely full condition, can be external or internal, would be very intense, heightened symptoms. If external, there would be high fever. Thank you for your attention.
Now let's have Foot Yongming Stomach Meridian. Stomach 25, Tianshu, Heavenly Pivot. Stomach 25, Tianshu, is located on the upper abdomen, 2 chun lateral to the umbilicus. Stomach 25, Tianshu, Heavenly Pivot, or the Heavenly Pillar, Celestial Pivot, long link, Valley Gate, origin supplementary. Front Mu alarm point for the large intestine. One of the points used to release the 7 internal dragons. A point of the pattern to release the 7 dragons on the 7 internal demons. This is the most anatomically inferior point with heavenly in its name. This is the pivot between earth and heaven and the origin of post-heavenly Qi in a person. The earth officials reside in the middle jiao. This point is found on the boundary between the middle and lower jiao. And this central place within us is the place of humanity between heaven and earth. The heavenly in the title indicates that the influxes of heaven can be experienced at this level, in this place of exchange and transformation. A pivot is somewhere from which one can bend without losing balance. When the stomach officials has become ground down through hard work or obsessive thought, this can bring the relief of allowing a fresh experience, opinion, or outlook without the person's boundary or sense of self being threatened. The fact that the stomach toils away in the center doesn't mean its effects aren't felt throughout the system. This point can remind one there is higher purpose to all of this endeavor. A good point when processing of many issues has caused unsteadiness and insecurity. It can nourish someone through the transition of life and help maintain and even heal. Spring 15, Great Horizontal, is found at the same level, and the 2 points can be used together to enhance the centered flexibility necessary to work off the earth element. A very effective point for stomach and intestinal disharmonies, dump heat in the intestines, heat in the stomach and intestines, stagnant qi in the stomach, spring qi deficiency with cold. Being the front move point for the large intestines, this point can be used in excess or deficiency conditions of the stomach and intestines for physical or emotional problems. Front move points are particularly indicated in acute excess situations. Clears heat in the stomach and intestines when there is a burning sensation of the epigastrium, thirst, constipation, and yellow tongue cold. Regulates and tonifies the spleen and intestines as it good for chronic diarrhea from spleen qi deficiency. Moxa is recommended. Tonifies yin nutritive qi. Good for mental irritation, anxiety, schizophrenia, mania, when these are due to stomach disharmony, particularly when there is a heat in the stomach. Indications: brings stability and refreshment to body, mind, and spirit, diarrhea and pain. Intestinal obstruction and pain from stagnant qi, endometriosis, and abdominal masses. Chronic diarrhea and tiredness from spleen deficiency. This important point is at the center of one's being. Above is heaven, below is earth. It's the central pivot of our heavenly and earthly qi. It is also the name of the central star in the northern Big Dipper, aka Plough. The other 6 stars rotate around it, great for earthing a person who is experiencing a lot of ups and downs, mood swings, mania, anxiety, or mental instability. Said to be helpful for women who are preoccupied with high gynecological problems such as conception, infertility, or are experiencing menstrual disorders, often paired with Splint 15 in order to enhance its stabilizing action. Its name is recorded in a manuscript from the 1st century BC. How to find the stomach 25. Measure 2 shun lateral from the center of the umbilicus. For reference, on the abdomen, 2 shun lateral corresponds to the midpoint between the anterior midline and the mammillary line, 3.5. Located on the same level are the Ren 8, the kidney 16, spleen 15, gallbladder 26. And the umbilicus, 0.5 shun lateral to umbilicus, mammillary line, or 4 shun lateral to the umbilicus at the level of the umbilicus and directly inferior to the 3 end of the 11th rib. How to needle? Vertically, 0.5 to 1.5 shun. For gynecological disorders, obliquely in an inferior direction towards the uterus. Caution: peritoneum, pregnancy. The needle may reach the aponeurosis of the oblique abdominal musculature at the transition of the sheath of the rectus abdominis muscle. Actions and indications: regulates the spleen, stomach, and intestines, eliminates dampness, and clears the damp heat, eliminates stagnation. Thank you for your.
Let's now go to spleen patterns. Let's discuss cold damp encumbering the spleen. This concept is due to the interior exuberance of cold dampness encumbering the spleen and disturbs the spleen yang. It is also called dampness encumbering spleen yang or cold dampness obstructing the middle jiao. It is also seen at the tie-in stage of the 6-channel patterns. The key symptoms of the functional impairments of the spleen and the stomach in transforming and transporting with manifestations of interior exuberance of cold dampness at the same time. The analysis of this pattern is mainly caused by improper diet, excessive intake of raw or cold foods, by exposure to a cold and damp environment like living in a damp or rainy place, or by other excessive endogenous dampness. The clinical manifestations would be fullness and distending pain in the epigastrium and abdomen, a bland but slimy taste in the mouth, poor appetite, nausea, vomiting, absence of thirst, abdominal pain, loose stool, heaviness of the head and body, edema, scanty urine, smoky yellow skin and yellow sclera, profuse leukorrhea, an enlarged tongue with a white, greasy, or white slippery coating, a soft or deep and thready pulse. In the analysis of a cold dampness encumbering the spleen pattern, the cold damp encumbering the spleen pattern, when it encumbers the spleen yang, it fails to transport and transform, and it causes fullness or pain of the epigastrium and abdomen, poor appetite, and loose stools. If the stomach chi counterflows upward, it causes nausea and vomiting. When the spleen yang is hindered by cold dampness, failing to warm and digest the water damp, it causes edema and scanty urine. When the liver and gallbladder depression leading to bile to flow outward, it causes smoky yellow skin and yellow sclera. When cold dampness is rushing down, it causes excess leukorrhea in females. And also, the tasteless mouth, a lack of thirst, and large tongue with a white, greasy, or white slippery coating, a soft or deep and thready pulse are manifestations of interior exuberance of a cold dampness pattern. The differentiation of cold dampness encumbering the spleen and the spleen yang deficiency. The cold dampness encumbering the spleen pattern, the nature would be invasion of cold dampness and excess cold. The pathology would be exuberance of cold damp encumbering the spleen yang and irregularity in ascending and descending. The onset and course would be an excess pattern, sudden onset, short course. For common clinical manifestations would be cold pain in the epigastrium, poor appetite, loose stool, edema, abnormal leukorrhea, and the different clinical manifestation would be abdominal pain with a preference for warmth but reluctance for pressure, or smoky yellow skin and eyes, an enlarged tongue with a white slippery coating, and the pulse would be soft or deep and thready. The spleen yang deficiency pattern, the nature would be interior formation of cold dampness, deficiency cold. The pathology would be spleen yang deficiency, failing to warm and transport and generating interior deficiency cold. The onset and course would be a deficiency pattern, moderate onset and long course. For common clinical manifestations would be cold pain in the epigastrium, poor appetite, loose stool, edema, abnormal leukorrhea, and the different clinical manifestations would be abdominal dull pain, which is relieved by warmth or pressure, a pale enlarged tongue with teeth, prints, and a white slippery coating. The pulse would be deep, slow, and weak. The cold damp invading the spleen, the etiology The exposure to exterior dampness from either weather or living conditions with spleen Qi deficiency underlying allowing damp to invade. The signs and symptoms would be poor appetite and digestion, fullness and oppression in the stomach duct, and epigastrium, which is better for warmth, heaviness in the head and limbs, sweet or sticky taste or absence of taste, no thirst, or thirst for warm drinks, loose stools, leukorrhea, tiredness, and a dull white complexion. The pulse would be slippery and slow, and the tongue would be swollen, pale with a sticky white coat. For treatment principle, we can warm the center, dispel the cold, and disinhibit damp. For acupuncture treatment, we can use spleen 9, which drains damp in lower burner, Ren 12, supplements spleen and disinhibits damp, Stomach 8, transforms damp in the head, Bladder 20, supplements spleen, resolves damp, Ren 11, harmonizes the middle burner, Spleen 6, disinhibits dampness, Spleen 3, supplements spleen Qi, Bladder 22, harmonizes spleen and stomach, Ren 9, harmonizes intestines, and Stomach 22 regulates intestines. We can needle with supplementation and large amounts of moxa. The relevant advice: if a person with damp cold invading the spleen should avoid food and beverages that are cold, both energetically and in their temperature. They should also avoid consuming anything that produces dampness. This means that dairy products, cold drinks, ice cream, sweets, cake, dried fruit, wheat, sugar, lettuce, cucumber, tomato, lemon, and tropical fruit should be avoided. They will benefit from consuming foods that are cooked, baked, and roasted and have a warming energy. Ginger will be particularly good as it is warming but also spicy and thereby expels exogenous pathogenic qi. Keeping the abdomen warm and dry is also vital in this pattern of the imbalance. Thank you for your attention.
Differential diagnosis by 8 fundamentals. During and following a gathering of clinical information, the physician applies the process of symptoms analysis on the symptoms, signs, physical conditions, and pathogenic factors of the patient so as to determine the general condition of the patient and his illnesses, including the pathological changes, and to ascertain the patterns of true symptoms which are called the syndromes. The next step is the process of differential diagnosis, whereby on the basis of the emerged patterns of true symptoms, the physician infers the final diagnosis, the identity of the illnesses, its nature, its cause, and its expected course. Thus, in the full process of diagnostic in CM, the first step is ascertaining the symptoms, the second step is symptoms analysis, and the final step is differential diagnosis on the pattern symptoms, the syndromes, of course. Only if the diagnosis is accurate can treatment be rational, appropriate, and effective. Complementary medicine or Chinese medicine uses several approaches to differential diagnosis. The principal ones are the following. First, diagnosis by 8 fundamentals. Second, diagnosis by qi and blood. Third, diagnosis by Zhangfu organs. Fourth, diagnosis by the 6 meridians. Fifth, diagnosis by the 4 phases. And sixth, diagnosis by Sanjiao. Each of these approaches has its own characteristics and scope of application. Diagnosis by earth fundamentals is the broadest and is generally appropriate for the clinical diagnosis of an illness. Diagnosis by qi and blood and diagnosis by the Zhangfu organs are most appropriate for illnesses of internal injury and miscellaneous conditions. The last three approaches, diagnosis by 6 meridians, by the 4 phases, and by Sanjiao, are most appropriate for illnesses caused by exogenous pathogenic evils. Diagnosis by 8 fundamentals. The 8 fundamentals comprise 4 pairs of opposites: yin and yang, exterior and interior, cold and heat, and deficiency and strength. Although the symptoms of an illness may be many and bewildering, fundamentally they can all be characterized along these 4 dimensions by means of the 8 fundamentals. An illness may be classified as yin or yang in type, in depth, may the yin fundamental encompasses the interior, the cold and the deficiency fundamentals, and the yang fundamental encompasses the interior, the heat and the strength fundamentals. Hence, yin-yang is the dimension that subsumes the other 3. Each of the 8 fundamentals has associated characteristic symptoms that form a characteristic pattern. But these patterns of symptoms are not entirely distinctive, nor do they remain unchanging, often changing into one another. Sometimes there may even be false symptoms. It is therefore important in the course of clinical diagnosis to pay attention to the differentiation between them, to the interaction and interchanges between them, and to the trueness and falsity of the symptoms. Only then can the physician reach an accurate diagnosis. Thank you for your attention.
Physical examination strategies. Head-to-toe examination, part 4. Male genitalia. Inspect and note the distribution of the pubic hair. Inspect and palpate the penis for any lesions, sores, rash, or masses. Inspect and palpate the urinary meatus. Inspect the scrotum for lesions, rashes, color changes, or edema. Palpate the testes. Assess for inguinal hernias. Patient supine with legs exposed. Arrange gown and drape so that they are covering the abdomen and pubis. Hips. Palpate the bony areas anteriorly. Test ROM. Lower extremities. Inspect the knees for swelling, deformity, muscle tone, and alignment of patellae. Palpate the knees and test ROM. Inspect the ankles and feet for edema, ecchymosis of deformity. Palpate and test ROM of the ankles and feet. Patient seated facing examiner. Neurologic system. Test rapid alternating movements, the ROM. Observe for leg dystaxia using the heel to shin test. Assess exteroceptive sensation. Assess the patient's ability to sense superficial pain. Test temperature sensation. Assess proprioceptive sensation. Test motion and position sense. Test vibratory sense. Assess cortical sensation. Test stereognosis. Assess graphesthesia. Test two-point discrimination. Assess extinction. Test plantar and Achilles reflexes. Patient standing. Neurologic. Observe patient standing, walking regularly, walking on heels, walking on tiptoes, and walking toe to heel. Instruct the patient to walk forward a few steps with eyes closed. Perform Romberg's test. Test for pronator drift. Spine. Assess posture. Palpate the spinal column. Palpate the paravertebral muscles. Observe ROM. Have the patient flex as if she or he were trying to touch her or his toes. Extend and move side to side. Female patient in lithotomy position. Remember to drape appropriately. Assess the mons pubis for general hygiene, pubic hair distribution, and condition of underlying skin. Inspect the vulva for lesions, edema, color, or discharge. Inspect the clitoris, urethral orifice, and vaginal introitus. Palpate the Bartholin's glands for masses, tenderness, or edema. Using a speculum, inspect the internal genitalia. Inspect the cervix, note color and texture, inspect the cervical os. Perform by manual examination. Palpate the vagina, palpate the cervix, palpate the uterus, including the fundus, palpate the ovaries, perform rectovaginal examination. Thank you for your attention.
Let's now go to acupuncture for emergencies. Let's discuss heart disease. For myocardial infarction and angina pectoris, use acupuncture on REN 14 point under the 11th vertebra and on the stomach 45 point. Use acupuncture on the spleen 4, PC6, REN 14, and REN 4 points. If the pain is as sharp as a needle punching, use acupuncture on the REN 14, UB15, Heart 7, PC8, Heart 8, and REN 4 points. There could be pain on the tips of the middle fingers. Use acupuncture on the Heart 1 and REN 17 points, especially for a feeling of pressure in the chest. Use acupuncture on the PC6 point, especially for tachycardia or bradyarrhythmia. Use acupuncture on the coronary point and use acupuncture on the lung 2 point. Use acupuncture on the chest pain point. Use folk therapy materials, 1 green onion, 2 fresh ginger, and 2 white turnips. Chop all material into mud. Bring to a warm temperature, fold into gauze to paste on the painful area. For heart failure, when the heart is about to stop beating, use acupuncture on the REN 4 point and the REN 22 and REN 14 points. The heart will start to beat again. If the heart stops beating for less than half an hour, the left front chest is still warm, use the following treatment. Use acupuncture on the DO26 point. Use acupuncture on the REN 4 and Heart 8 points. Use UB35 9 needles. Give the herbal tea Ma Huang Tang through a stomach tube. This may bring back consciousness for about another half hour, allowing the patient to give final words. The needle inserts in 9 directions around the point. Thank you for your attention. Let's now go to fibromyalgia. Let's discuss clinical manifestations. Fibromyalgia is a chronic health condition characterized by widespread musculoskeletal aches, pain, and stiffness, soft tissue tenderness, sensitivity to touch, general fatigue, and sleep disturbances. The pain and tenderness tend to come and go and move about the body. It affects an estimated 2% to 4% of the world's population and is most common in women, although it can occur in men, 80% women, 20% men of all ethnic backgrounds. It most often starts in the middle adulthood but can occur in the teen years and in old age. The most common sites of pain include the neck, back, shoulders, pelvic girdle, and limbs, but any body part can be involved. Patients suffering from fibromyalgia experience a range of symptoms of varying intensity that wax and wane over time. For people with severe symptoms, fibromyalgia can be extremely debilitating and interfere with basic daily activities. Fibromyalgia in Western medicine, for clinical manifestations, fibromyalgia causes pain all over the body. The major symptoms include tenderness to touch or pressure affecting muscles and sometimes joints or even the skin, severe fatigue, sleep disturbances, and cognitive problems. Research has documented neuroendocrine physiological abnormalities that may contribute to other symptoms experienced by some patients, which are depression or anxiety, dizziness, increased sensitivity to light, odors, and sound, migraine or tension headaches, numbness and tingling in the hands and feet, digestive problems, irritable bowel syndrome, commonly called IBS or gastroesophageal reflux disease, often referred to as GORD, alternating diarrhea and constipation, irritable or overactive bladder, pelvic pain, and temporomandibular disorder, often called TMJ, a set of symptoms including face or jaw pain, jaw clicking, and ringing in the ears. Widespread pain, the pain associated with fibromyalgia, often is described as a constant dull ache that has lasted for at least 3 months. To be considered widespread, it must occur on both sides of the body and above and below the waist. For fatigue, patients with fibromyalgia often awaken feeling tired even after sleeping for long periods of time. Sleep is often disrupted by pain, and many patients report other disorders such as restless leg syndrome and sleep apnea. For cognitive difficulties, a symptom commonly referred to as fibrofog impairs the ability to focus, pay attention, and concentrate on mental tasks. Thank you for your attention.